What is going on, folks? Welcome into the Bubba Rose Show. Really appreciate you tuning in whenever and however you're taking in the program. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe wherever you have joined us. This is episode 6 and part 3 of our tremendous 3-part conversation with Wichita State and college baseball legend Gene Stephenson. If you missed parts 1 and 2, definitely go back and check those out. They're available on Facebook and YouTube by searching The Bubba Rose Show. Also available most places podcasts are found, including, but not limited to, Spotify, Anchor, and Google Podcasts. On this episode, Coach Stephenson will talk a variety of topics, including Darren Dreifort, the tremendous two-way talent that won the Golden Spikes Award back in 1993 when he was named the top player in all of college baseball, going 11-1 on the mound, hitting 22 bombs. What a year that was in 93 for Darren Dreifort. He also talks about the importance of having the we over me mindset and how that went so far in leading the Shockers to the success they had in his tenure. And so those things and a whole lot more will be touched on over the next 40 minutes or so. And let's go ahead and jump right into that conversation. Part 3 of our 3-part sit down with Gene Stephenson. The final player I wanted to ask you about is Darren Dreifort. We talked about Joe Carter and Phil Stephenson being players of the year nationally. And Darren Dreifort, college baseball's Golden Spikes Award winner in 1993, 11-1 on the mound, hit 22 bombs, number 2 overall pick in the draft by the LA Dodgers. So just give us the Cliff Notes version about Darren Dreifort.
He was number 1 that year.
You'd have to enlighten me, Coach.
The team needed hitters. Okay. They didn't need.
That was when I was 12. So let's see.
A-Rod was the pick. Okay. A high school kid out of Miami.
Yep.
Okay. And, one thing I've got, thank God, I've got a memory left. Okay. That's about it. Okay. But, A-Rod was the guy that they chose ahead of Dreifort because they needed hitters at that time. But it was fine with Darren because he was going to make the big leagues. He would have been a franchise pitcher forever. I mean, he was a guy that was a can't miss no matter what. And if he took batting practice, which he did with the Dodgers a lot of times, in pregame, he by far had more power than anybody the Dodgers had that were players. I mean, that guy was strong, the guy was loose, and he'd throw 98 and movement beyond belief as a college guy. And true to form, they changed him because he was a little unorthodox. But I know enough about this game that if a guy's successful, you don't change him until he proves to himself that he can't do it his way. And what happens when you try to change guys in a situation like that who have such great talent, they usually get hurt. And that's what happened with Darren. He got hurt over and over again, trying to make adjustments. Then he went back to what he'd done before. And his body just broke down in different things. I think he's now looked at 18 or 19 different significant operations for his knee, hip, arm. 2 times he was had the ulnar collateral ligament torn and had to replace it, and still was throwing 98, afterwards. And, but the thing is, he just couldn't stay healthy long enough. Love that guy, team player, great student. He better be. His father was a history professor here at the university. But just a prince of a guy to work with every day. And he was just a pitcher until his junior year. And he came to me at the start of the year when some guys got hurt that we were counting on. And he says, Coach, I can hit. I said, I know, I saw you in high school. He said, no, I mean, I can hit. Let me DH. Have we got any time left?
Absolutely. We have
Okay. Let me
we
get
have
to
all the
this.
time you need, Coach. And so
Let me get this one. I always tell you that this is, I always like to tell it, this is kind of a joke, but it kind of actually happened. Not quite this way, but it kind of happened. You know, when he hadn't hit before as a player, and early in that, very early in the cold weather, we were struggling. And that's one of the reasons he came to me and said, I can help us. I can hit. Give me a chance. So I let him come in and pinch hit. First time I did. And we had metal bleachers at that time back, and there was always this lady that was kind of like, I didn't never know who she was or whatnot, but she was always kind of ragging on me when things weren't going good. And, you know, so I decided I was going to pinch hit Darren in this critical game, which we were behind in. And I heard her because she was always loud and I can never forgot that voice, okay? Because she was screaming behind me saying, I was coaching third, and she said, I can't say exactly what she said, but basically, you're a dummy. Why in the world what are you doing now? You taking a picture and trying to make him hit? And I'm just thinking, okay, come on, Derek, show me. Boom, home run, take the lead, win the game. And I'm thinking, I'm just kind of in my head, but oh God, that woman, I got her, you know. And he was coming to me toward third base, and he went by and shook my hand, and then I heard her. The crowd was going crazy. There was like, boy, and I heard her screaming at me, "That's you, Stephenson, you dummy! You have a guy like that sitting over there, and you never let him hit before." Okay, I'm like, man, I can't win with this woman no matter what. Okay, so sometimes you think you win, but you never win with everybody, you know. And I'm just like so blessed so many times over to have had the opportunity. And even though people said you have not a snowball's chance in hell, by golly, we did pretty darn good for a snowball in hell. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, I'd say so.
We won 1,837 games in 36 years. That's an average of 51 wins a year. 51 wins a year. And, you know, yes, because we went to the World Series, we played a few more games than most people, okay? And we went to Hawaii the years that they didn't count against your total game limit and played 6 or 7 games over there. So, yeah, we might have played a couple more, but we also averaged 51 wins a year for 36 years, never a losing season, 28 conference championships, 29 times the college to the regionals, huge successes. And no one, no matter any team, no other team averaged that long a time, averaged 51 wins a year. Now, that's a pretty good deal. Mike Martin didn't. Augie Garrido didn't. Those two guys are the two guys that had more wins than we did. But they also coached a lot longer than we did. So all I'm telling you is we were blessed. We were blessed many times over. We had lots of good players who played really hard and played really well. And all along the way, and I don't want you to ever forget this, all along the way, it was about we, us, ours, never about I, me, my, because that's how you win. You win with people who care about one another. Yes, they have to have talent. And yes, you have to coach them up a little bit. No doubt about it. But when it gets down to the bare minimums, it's always about together. We, us, our people always are pulling in the right direction together. And together, we feel like we can accomplish everything. And together, we feel like we can win everything. You don't always do that. I know that. But over that time period, we won 75% of our games. That's phenomenal in baseball, as you know. Okay. And all I'm saying is, like, look, I was blessed because we got an opportunity to work with good young men who really bought into what we were trying to do all the time. And it was fun. It was so much fun. And yet we had nothing. We had absolutely nothing. They didn't even have a ball. And when I went to the first press conference and said that what we're going to do, everybody in town started laughing because they thought, there's no way in the world. I mean, maybe you can do that at Texas. Maybe you can do that at Arizona State. Maybe you can do that at Oklahoma. You ain't got a snowball's chance in hell of that ever working in Wichita. Never. Wow. It took, and they always ask me that later on, did you ever think it was going to be like this? Did you ever dream it was this facility and all the things, accolades that you have? Did you ever dream it'd be like this? I said, the hell yeah. I just can't believe it took so damn long, you know, because, and that's true, because I was hell bent on every year we're going to make some improvements. We're going to make it facility improvements, and we're going to fill these stands when we do it. And we did. And those guys that played during those stretches, greatest memories maybe of their lifetime. Maybe. I hope so, because they were awful big memories for me. It's a big time. And the only thing I wish, and I talked to Enos Seymour the other night, he's going to be 90 years old in April. And, you know, we talked about the good times. You know, one thing about it, you can't bring it back. Wish we could. Wish we could do it all over again. We'd do it probably the same way. But one thing, as long as you keep your memory, as long as you've got your memory, if God gives you that ability to keep your mind, you can't ever forget the great times.
Mm. And Coach, we really appreciate the extended visit. As we're wrapping this up, Johnny Gardner, one of our loyal viewers and listeners, he wanted to know these last 7 or 8 years since you stopped coaching. Just talk about you obviously have a tremendous passion for not only the Shockers but just the game of baseball in general. So talk about what you're doing now, and I know you're very blessed, and you've used that word blessed several times. You're very blessed to be married to someone who is very famous in the baseball world, as she is the daughter of Florida State great and stadium namesake Dick Hauser.
And Kansas City Royal first World Series winner, you know, and back in 1985. Good friend of mine. I didn't know he had children at the time, and I met Jana in 2011 or 11, I believe it was, at the baseball convention. And this was a wonderful gal. She seemed to be sincere and honest and straightforward and genuine. And, we struck up a long distance relationship for, my gosh, probably 4 years, I think. And then I finally decided, well, I need to ask her if she'd be interested to get engaged. And lo and behold, she said yes. And shortly after that, she came up here to join me. And, it's strange, but she's everything you could ever ask for. She's genuine. She loves sports in general. She loves baseball in particular. She's there every day with a smile and a joy. And she's made the last few years have been awful tough not coaching. I'd be the first to tell you that broke my heart. But, like I always told the players, it doesn't matter what happens to you. You could be blessed many times over. And you're going to get thrown a lot of curves along the way. You're going to get fooled a lot of things there over time. And, in baseball in particular, there's going to be good days and bad days. There'll be good at bats and bad at bats. There'll be good pitching performances, bad ones. There'll be good fielding performances and bad ones, all along the way. And you can't do anything about them. They happened. You wish they hadn't, but they happened. And it isn't about the fact that they happen to you. Everybody has something happen to you. And you know what? The first time something bad happens, think about this, Bubba. Something like that bad happens to someone. First thing most of us always say, why me, Lord? I didn't deserve that. Why me? And that, I swear, is not the question you should ask. The question you should ask is, how am I going to turn this? How am I going to make chicken salad out of this chicken poop? Okay? How am I going to do that? And if everybody would face their problems like that, the world would be a lot better. Okay? And I preach that to guys every year, all the time, about it's your attitude towards something that happens that makes the difference. Bad things happen to good people sometimes. I don't know why. They do. And it isn't the fact that they happen. Maybe it's God's way of saying, how are you going to react to it? Are you going to make something good out of what happened bad? Or are you going to say, oh no, oh me, oh my, and give up? Nope. Still here, make the most of it. Don't ever give up. Don't ever get yourself in a position where you say, why me? Why did I deserve better than that? No, you don't. You're lucky enough to be grown and born and raised and in this country, which still, with all its problems, is the greatest country the world has ever seen with respect to all aspects of life. And I've seen a lot of things. I promise you, there's nowhere I would trade the United States of America for any other place on this planet. That's for sure. And with all our problems, what we should do is to make sure that we're making the most in some small way of every situation. Your attitude, my attitude toward things like that happen, bad. And they can be catastrophic sometimes. But what happens with the rest of your life is 90% your attitude. 90% of what happens the rest of your life is going to depend on your attitude. Good things happen and bad things happen. When things are going good, everything's sweet. When things go bad, and they do in a lot of different ways for a lot of different people, it isn't about thinking that you deserve better than that. In America, you deserve opportunity. Everybody. Thank God for that, okay? And I hope it never changes. But anybody, if they keep their health, can rise up in this country. And that can't be done like that anywhere else. And that's why we should be thankful. All we need to do is keep an attitude, because 90% of the rest of your life will depend upon how you react to things that don't go right. And if you've got that ability to do that and keep that in your heart all the time, you can't help but be successful. And I mean that. But getting back to the situation where I mean, look, we had success beyond belief at Wichita State. And what happened? In the end, I got fired, okay? Because we hadn't gone to Omaha in a number of years. We were real close a number of times. Won the league the last year, got beaten the regional. And you know, I think sometimes like God works in mysterious ways, but you know, I think in my situation, I've been preaching this stuff to our kids and our players forever. And maybe the good Lord said, okay, coach, you've been preaching this to everybody and you stay strong like that. Let's see how you react to this. Because this was my life's passion. You understand that? I mean, not many people understand the passion that went into this. We were not going to fail. And we stuck to it, good and bad. And we stayed after it. And we succeeded. But in the end, still got fired. Okay? So what's the big deal? The big deal is that what a great opportunity and a joy that we had during that time. Now you can sit around and moan and groan, and I had a really tough time dealing with that, you know. But I became convinced that, by gosh, God works in ways we'll never understand. But like it says in the Bible, He has a plan for all of us. We don't know what it is, but He has a plan, and it's for good. And if you'll stay with a positive attitude and you'll stay with that as best you can, it'll be for good. And you know, Janet was a godsend for us, for me. I mean, I say I speak for her. I hope she'd say for us. But I mean, that was a blessing. And you know, I'd love to be doing a lot of different things. I mean, I got the opportunity to come out at Shelby, North Carolina, for the American Legion World Series and do that for 4, 5, 6 years afterwards. And it's great fun. And I love doing it. I wish that I could be of more help to more people. Okay. You know, I don't know a lot outside of what subject matter I've given you today, you know, And I'm not the smartest guy on the block. Hard work, perseverance, trying to keep good health is paramount in everything we try to do. But at the same time, you just got to keep your attitude to the point where I'm going to make the most of whatever happens. We're going to make it. Don't give up. And I told you early on in this deal, my dad's characteristic to me about, hey, you give your word to someone and you shake hands on it, by golly, you mean it and you stay with it. And that word is everything. And as long as the people you gave word to are treating you right, you don't give up on them and you stay with it because you made a deal. So I made a deal to come to Wichita State. And it was very difficult. And it wasn't all, none of the promises that were made to me were kept. But we still made it work. And we raised the time, raised the money, raised the effort, built one step at a time, slowly but surely. Every time I go by that stadium today, I marvel. But it's so, and it's a passion. It was a work of love and passion, and but it's not been taken away. I mean, I can't coach anymore, but I get to talk to you. I mean, that's a plus, right? I'm just thinking that, if I can give anything, I go speak to youth groups and things around the area because people ask me to come and do that. And I love doing that. But I'll just tell you that I just think, one of the really good movies is the Robert Redford movie about the baseball player,
Yeah, the natural.
Natural, yeah, okay. And one of the things he says in the movie, he's laying in bed, and he had the injuries that from a female that one too many bad females that he was with, and he's talking to someone, and I think it's the good gal at that point, and he says, "God, I love baseball." You remember that?
Absolutely.
That's a fact for me too. I love baseball because it's the game of life in America. It's the sports that's most like your life in America. You got to play it every day, and the most successful people are the most consistent people. In the major leagues or wherever, in the workplace, same way. If you're consistent every day with what you do, and you come out and do the things you're supposed to do every day as the best you can, and you treat everyone with dignity and respect, this life is good. And I am so blessed, I say it again, is that, in this game, you don't win them all. Baseball, you don't win them all. You're not going to have an undefeated season. Nobody. And the thing about it is that as a hitter, think about it. This is the most amazing sport I've ever seen. Here's any guy comes in off the street in the major leagues, and if he fails 7 out of 10 times, he's a multi-million-dollar player. Failing 7 out of 10 times, okay, as a hitter. You say, but he's hitting 300. People don't hit 300. And you know what? I agree. If he goes 3 for 10, every 10 at bats he gets 3 hits. But life doesn't work that way, and baseball doesn't either. Sometimes you're going to have huge droughts, and it's going to push you to things you just wish that you never feel. I once talked to Tony Gwynn. I said, Tony, you're the most consistent hitter. We played against him in '81. It was San Diego State. And of course, he went on to great things as a player. And I said, Tony, what was the worst time you ever had? Because you're the most consistent hitter ever played. And I just wonder, what's the worst time you ever had? And he said, you won't believe this because nobody else believes it. But he said, once in pro ball in the minor leagues, I went 0 for 41. Bullshit. I said, no way. He said, yeah. And he said, I was so down in the dumps, I thought I was never going to get out. But pretty soon I realized that I couldn't change any of that stuff that had already gone on. See, and if you keep thinking about the negatives and you can't change those negatives, then you're wasting your time and money. You're spinning your wheels. It's like, if you can't change it, learn from it. And focus on the next opportunity. Focus on the next game if you're a pitcher. Focus on the next batter. Too many people dwell on the negatives because there are plenty of them in baseball, and then they can't function on the here and now. They take it with them. And it's like, what does that have to do with, if you're 0 for, I mean, just being a little more realistic, say you're a player and you're 0 for the last 15. And if your mind isn't right, that 16th at bat, which most of the time it's not, you go 0 for another one, for 0 for 16. But if you can take away in your mind the negatives of the recent past and focus on the here and now that you can do something with, the next opportunity, the next at bat, or the next pitch if you're pitching, and instead of focusing so much on things that you failed at. Lord, Wichita State, I think we lost something like 650, 60 games, okay? Now, you break that down for 36 years, well, that's what, 18, 18 games a year. I can't believe we lost that many games, okay? I mean, think about it. That's more games than a lot of people even play, in their life, in their career. But you have to focus on the next opportunity. You have to focus on the next situation upcoming. And you have to clarify yourself. Prepare. I told Eric last night, I don't care if you're playing the #1 team in the country, because Oklahoma's rated, in the top 25. I don't care if you're playing. Your players shouldn't care. It doesn't matter. Okay? The only thing that matters is your team prepared. Is your team prepared? Do they know they're prepared? Have you told them that you prepped them for everything that can happen in a baseball game? And if that's the case, and they know they're prepared, they should never be nervous. The only people who should ever be nervous are the ones who aren't prepared. If you're not prepared to take an exam, you ought to be nervous. Okay. If you're not prepared for your next job opportunity, you ought to be nervous. If you're not prepared for playing against the very best teams in the game, then your team ought to be nervous. I don't think Wichita State's teams were ever nervous about who we were going to play. I don't care how big a name they were. Don't care about how many great players they had. They got to beat us. And we're prepared. We may not be as talented as you, but we're prepared in everything that baseball can present to us in this game today. We're going to do it. Everybody is going to do it at least average. I don't care what we're asked to do. If you can say that about your preparation, why in the world would you ever be nervous? Why wouldn't you be excited about going out and playing every day? Well, the answer, of course, is they're not as prepared. And good teams exploit the fact that you're not prepared to execute every day, everything in the game. It takes a lot of attention to detail. I always said that the difference between great and good has nothing to do with ability. The difference between being truly great and good, truly great or good, is one thing only: attention to detail. Have you done all the details that are necessary? Have you attended to all those? And if we had, and I felt comfortable with our guys, boy, I couldn't wait till the next game. I couldn't wait till the next opportunity because I knew we were ready. And I just felt that way about a number of teams. I know that. We were blessed with good players, but they also were guys that were prepared. And that's what I told Eric. I said, you guys are going to prepare them because you all play for us. You know what it's all about. And they should never be nervous. He said, well, I don't know, boy. I watch them. I said, that doesn't matter. As long as you tell them they're prepared and they believe you, you're not going to be perfect no matter what. But boy, why would anybody be nervous? Because you're getting to play the game you love. And I know nerves eat up a lot of people. But think about it. Honestly, why would you be nervous about anything that you know you're totally prepared for?
Absolutely.
Let it go. Let's go get them.
Like you're saying, Coach, I mean, if you've put the work in and you're prepared, you're always going to have some butterflies. That just means you're human. But there's a difference, in my opinion, having a few butterflies and just in the nerves, like you're saying, nerves are a product of not being prepared.
Trust your preparation. Trust your preparation, partner. And that's it. Because if you can do that, you will outperform most teams you play. That doesn't mean you're the best, but you'll outperform most of them. And that's hard to do, attention to detail. But you got to do it. Because, most players, they love to work on things they already do well. They don't like to be embarrassed in front of their teammates or people by having to work on things they don't do well. You ever notice that?
Absolutely.
But they have to work on those things. And they have to get to become at least average in every detail in order to be a team that's successful.
Coach, you've been beyond generous with your time. We really appreciate it. And so many words of wisdom. I know our listeners are going to really enjoy hearing everything you had to say. And just, continued success and blessings to you and Jana there in Wichita. Best of luck to the Shockers. And then also, I know you still pull for OU, and Lincoln Riley, who spent time at East Carolina with Ruffin McNeil, is doing a tremendous job leading the Sooners on the gridiron, and enjoy everything that Lincoln's doing there with Oklahoma?
Oh, I love it. I love watching them play. I'm so glad that finally we've got a defense now that plays a respectable, because I got so tired of no lead being safe. you know, but they played good defense last year, and once they got all those guys back from suspension, they were unbeatable, and that's all you can say. I think they're going to be good next year. I can't wait to watch them. Good Lord willing, I'll be healthy and we'll have a great time. And if you're in this part of the country, you can always come over here and watch Lincoln Riley and the Sooners if you want to come to watch a ball game in my TV.
Sounds great, Coach. And, I know you've mentioned being down in Clearwater at different times. I'll stay.
Well, I hope to be there again this year. They always, all the teams, because I think they will this year. Last year, they had 9 teams. Now they've only got 8, right? Because Connecticut dropped out.
Yes, sir. And when we dropped, UConn moved on to the Big East. And so this year, one of the things is everybody's playing 8 games against one opponent. For instance, East Carolina's playing Cincinnati 8 times, and I know you said Wichita State. Is it Houston or who?
Houston 8. Yeah. Well, we hope so. I hope I get to see you. If not before, I'll get to see you down in Clearwater. Okay.
Absolutely. If I make the trip, I'll definitely be in touch, and I'd love to meet you face to face. And again, Coach, we really appreciate the time, and take care.
Thank you, Bubba. My pleasure. Thank you much.
That concludes this edition of the Bubba Rose Show. We appreciate you tuning in. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review the show wherever you listen. Also, be sure to follow us on social media at Bubba Rosenbaum on Twitter, at Bubba Rose Show on Instagram. Like and follow the Bubba Rose Show Facebook page, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let us hear from you by emailing us at thebubbaroseshow@gmail.com. Again, that's thebubbaroseshow@gmail.com. We'll talk to you next time, y'all.